Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a look here at Sandbox, see what's going on, of course, help understand best practice, big picture, and I got a lot of requests from this yesterday. Figured I'd cover it today here as well to kind of confirm and reiterate a few points that I tried to drive home, as well as just kind of help you understand, where it might go in the future. So thanks again for joining me here. If you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do love teaching people to trade. So I hope that you can learn something here today. My goal is to help you become a better trader. So if you want to do that for yourself, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. Feel free to become a community member. We have over 200 active members right now. It's an amazing experience where we kind of all learn and grow together. And I'm sending out signals too for trades that I take so you can learn how to structure your trades in this environment. But more importantly, I have a trading academy where you can learn to become a better trader. And that to me is the most important because when you're in a bear market, you have to look at you have to look at things differently, more so. And bear markets are different than bull markets, and there's a lot of different strategies you can apply. But generally speaking, becoming a better trader starts here more so than what you're seeing on the screen. Okay, so again, it's all about your mindset and how you trade. A lot of different situations, of course, but I think that it's important to understand that. So taking a look here at Sandbox. Here's kind of what's going on, of course. We're looking at the 20-day set moving average. We can see the price action continued higher, right? We acknowledged that yesterday. It worked as a support level. We also acknowledged that the 50-day SMA potentially is a resistance level, which we've seen in the past. Okay, so it's tentatively a resistance for the moment. Another thing we can also see here, pretty clear as day, is this Fibonacci retracement level. Interesting enough, right here at $1.22, the price action came up and got rejected. Okay, so again, that's where Fibonacci retracement levels are helpful. You can also see, of course, that this price action here so far today came all the way down to wick to about $1.11. So even though it's channeling itself in this range, it's using those Fibonacci retracement levels perfectly. Okay, and that's sometimes what you want to make sure to pay attention to. Other than that, let's see here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other standard stuff. I did also mention yesterday as well, and we don't necessarily have to look at this here today, but if you look at Sandbox's Bitcoin pairing, it's very healthy compared to Bitcoin. In other words, you compare that with Bitcoin, you see how low Bitcoin is, and the value of Sandbox compared to Bitcoin is higher. That's a very good sign telling us that we should experience the price action to not retrace significantly lower than where we're at right now. In other words, Sandbox should be able to retain its value even if Bitcoin were to come down a little bit. Granted, Bitcoin comes down to 14,000, you can definitely experience a retracement from Sandbox, but its Bitcoin pairing is showing very good signs right now. That's a positive thing to try to look at. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the standard stuff here. We can see we're kind of hovering above and below 50 on the RSI. When you see that happen, it's really not super relevant in the sense that it's a definitive line in the sand. But if you were to kind of look at it here, you could say that right around 110 or this support level right around 109 is effectively the key level support, and that's roughly 50 or at 50 on the RSI. So again, kind of reaffirming that, but I don't really care for that when the price action jumps above and below that area. It kind of nullifies it, but not to say it's a bad thing. It just kind of implies that we don't have any specific resistances on the RSI there. You can, however, see a much different story in the 4-hour, whereas the price action came up to 70 on the RSI, big surprise, rejected out, came back down almost as low as 50, and now it's potentially increasing here. All right, now while this is very synonymous behavior to Bitcoin had a very similar looking RSI structure on the 4-hour, you can still tell that Sandbox is retaining its value quite nicely. And the price action coming down here, establishing higher lows, does imply that we should still be able to see higher highs moving forward. So this next push, as long as this next push is over 122, then we should be in good shape to see it continue to work its way up these levels. Okay, so again, looking pretty good here in the overall sense of Sandbox. I like what I see here so far, definitely in good shape. Let's see, our MACD is potentially diverging. So again, keep in mind, we might see some sell-off from Bitcoin here soon. Bitcoin might retrace, and if it does, then obviously we could see something very similar from Sandbox. But once again, this area right here is a nice support channel between 105 and just say 112. And I would say that that's a pretty good area of support that we have based not only on volume, which we can see here, we got a lot of volume here in this area starting to accumulate right at that resistance level, but we also have a good effect of having higher highs and higher lows. And those are things I like to kind of celebrate there. So it's looking definitely pretty good here. We want to take a look at TD sequential here on the 1-hour and kind of see. We came up to this extreme overtime. I think when I covered it yesterday, we were in this range here, and I was expecting the price action to not come any higher than 122, when in truth it didn't, which is perfectly fine. It's all well and good, but it's a key level resistance. You can want to make sure to respect that. And look at this. It's interesting how the price just comes right up to these resistance levels, these support levels, and bounces off of them. Okay, so it's basically working the way that it should right now. The important thing to note too is we just came off of an 8. So there is potential for just say another 6 to 12 more hours of bullish continuation to the upside. Okay, and if it were to continue that high, just say for example, we want to make sure it breaks this resistance level here of 122 in order to kind of reaffirm those higher highs and get us to that next level. Okay, so that's generally what we're looking for. We want to take a quick look at the cloud here too, and Bitcoin is having very similar structure here too in that sense, whereas Bitcoin's testing the cloud right now. Even though we haven't had that test from Sandbox, it is kind of just telling us that, hey, if you had a position open, a long position, you should have taken your profits by now, right? Conversion lines below the baseline, even though we're still above the cloud, we've got these other indicators telling us that it might be viable to take some profits. So at the very least, close 50% of your position, take some profit. Heaven forbid the price comes back down, you at least break even or do slightly better. Okay, a lot of little things you can kind of think about, but generally speaking, Sandbox is kind of exuding similar behavior to Bitcoin, but also better. So again, with its Bitcoin pairing looking pretty decent, we can kind of see here that Sandbox has a great chance of continuing much higher from here. And in fact, you can kind of see this little resistance level on the Bitcoin pairing. And you can kind of see here that if we can break back above right around 6,200 Satoshis, you probably have a good opportunity to be able to have the price action continue higher from there. It'll come up, it'll retest its support and continue higher. Okay, and if Bitcoin pairing for Sandbox can increase while Bitcoin is just steadily going sideways, that's a positive sign. That implies that the actual USDT, the tether, will also follow suit in time. It's following somewhat of a suit, just not exactly identical because it's paired a little bit closer. But for lack of better terms, Sandbox does look a lot stronger than most other coins right now. Even though we had a 5% correction today, the overall sense of where it's retaining itself is pretty good. So again, pending Bitcoin doesn't drop, just say sub 18,000, or right in that 18 to 19,000 support range, if we lose that support, you can expect Sandbox to be corrected. Between now and then, if Bitcoin continues to go kind of sideways like it is, we should expect Sandbox to continue to perpetually get a little bit higher. Right, it'll continue to go. And that's, again, based on its Bitcoin pairing, but also having a very healthy qualities here so far. So is Sandbox going to take off tomorrow? Maybe not, but over the next couple of weeks, I do think it's more likely to be a good swing trade opportunity, and it might be something worth looking into. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there. So Sandbox is looking better than most coins right now, I can say, and it wouldn't be a terrible investment to consider adding to your position. Just know, if you have a long position open right now, you should have taken some profits from yesterday, because that was a pretty good candle. Try not to get too greedy. Okay, and those are things I teach in my trading academy as well. Kind of having a strong mental fortitude or a lot, good positive mental attitude, and things like that kind of factor into trading. So again, work on yourself and make sure that you are the best person you can be, and the trading will follow. Okay, again, just something to think about. So that being said, we're pretty much all set here. There's not much else I can really explain or note. Honestly, it's just really as straightforward as it gets right now. Thank you so much for joining me here. If you want to become a CryptoCache community member, link in the description below, CryptoCache.tech. Look forward to working with you. Have yourself a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon.